That you know, when ego is the root problem, where does ego come from? Ego comes from the source point. The starting point is when someone doesn't truly appreciate what Allah is, who Allah is. When you don't appreciate who Allah is, you replace that with an appreciation of your own self. That's where it starts. That's really what the root of the problem is. So the first point I wanted to make, really, inshallah ta'ala, is people that wear the facade of the religion. They look religious, they talk religious, they have knowledge. May Allah protect us from this. This is a very serious problem. They look more practicing than the other guy who doesn't have a beard. She looks more taqiyah than the other sister who doesn't wear a hijab. They look more religious. The outwardly is very good. But on the inside there's an ego. On the inside there's an urge to show your supremacy. You are more righteous. You are more qualified. You are in a better position than the other. And in your heart, if you look down upon another Muslim, no matter what their condition, if you look down upon another Muslim, if you do that, then you have this thing inside your heart called kibr. Kibr, arrogance. And you know, we learn from the advice of the Prophet ﷺ that the one who has a mustard seed, which is basically you're saying an atom, okay, a molecule, nothing, that much of arrogance in their heart, what is not open to them? You know, right? Jannah is not open to them. Jannah is not open to them. So what I'm trying to say is, you have a Muslim who does bad things. You know, the guy drinks, whatever. He does some really bad stuff. His evil actions are outwardly. But your evil action is what? Inwardly. On the outside, you look good. You look like you're doing all right. His action is punishable for sure. For sure. You don't think yours is? And if you were to compare, even though nobody's condoning his behavior, if you were to compare, which is a bigger problem that is harder to fix? Think about that. Is arrogance a bigger problem to fix? You know why it's a bigger problem? Because you can't even see it. At least his drinking problem, you could see it. There are things you could do to address it. But this problem in here, it's a hard thing to fix, because it's deep down inside, and the only one who can sense it is who? Yourself. Nobody can tell you. If it's in there, it's in there. We can't judge any of each other. We can't judge, oh, I can, while I'm giving this talk, you're listening, you're like, I can think of somebody who's pretty arrogant right now that should be listening to this. Don't think of anyone else. That in and of itself, that's a sign of arrogance. Who should you be thinking of? Yourself. The counsel of the religion is not for anyone else first. Who is it for first? Yourself. We've become so desensitized that the religious or the counsel of the Qur'an, the counsel of the great words of the Messenger ﷺ, that counsel is for everybody else. Wait till I tell them what I just heard. Well, who was supposed to hear it first? Who was supposed to internalize it first? You yourself. You got to think about that. We become very selfish and self-centered and self-serving when it comes to Allah's religion. You know, the husband hears a hadith about the rights of the wife, or the rights of the husband. What's the first thing he does? Hey, you know what I heard today? Let me tell you. The parent, what is the first ayah he tells his child? وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Be the best to your parents. Isn't that self-serving? Are we here to serve ourselves? Is the religion here to serve our needs? Or are we here to serve Allah's deen? Right? It's a change of attitude. It's a completely different attitude. So this is the first problem, ego, that I wanted to bring to your attention. Something that only you can gauge in yourself. Nobody else can gauge that for you. But if that's there, no matter how much good is there on the outside, does it amount to anything? No, because your heart is not sound. And Allah says on the Day of Judgment, إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. With the exception of none except those who come before Allah with a sound heart. With a sound heart. Right? So we have to fix this thing on the inside, this ego on the inside. I'm going to give you, before I go to the second point, I'll just give you some tips on how to tell if you have an ego problem. Just some basic tips. If somebody corrects you, right, and you get really offended, really how could you say that to me, bro? Why would you say that to me? Who do you think you are? Who does that guy think he is? He's correcting me like that. If that's your first reaction, then you have an ego problem. Even if that guy is being, I don't want to use bad language, okay? He's not right. He shouldn't have said what he said to you. Your first reaction should not be, who is he to talk to me? You know what your first reaction should be? Maybe through this really inappropriate comment, Allah is telling me something that I should take heed of. Maybe there's some truth in it. Okay, it's not 100% true. Is it a little bit true? Is it 1% true? Is it a 0.5% true? Whatever of it is true, I should take it on myself. I should save myself. Instead of worrying about who is he to talk to me that way. Don't develop that attitude in yourself. Take the good from the even bad advice. Even a nasty comment. Take the good from it, leave the rest. It's okay. If you feel the need to interject in every conversation, if you feel the need to have your opinion heard, no matter what, if you get really offended that your opinion was not taken in the end, you gave your opinion, somebody else gave another opinion, but your opinion was not the final one taken, somebody else's was, and you walk away offended, you've got an ego problem. Especially in matters of religion. The MSA, the masjid, some people get together, they take some shura. What should we do? And you give your opinion, somebody else gives their opinion. And in the end, the shura is for the sake of Allah or no? Right? Isn't it? When you're doing work for the masjid, the MSA, whatever, it's for the sake of Allah. So you gave your opinion for whose sake? For Allah's sake. You didn't give it for your own sake. You didn't give it to serve yourself. Let's see if my opinion comes out on top. That's not why you gave it. If you did, you've got a serious problem. So you gave it for Allah's sake. Now if you gave it for Allah's sake, has it already been counted in your favor? If you did that for Allah's sake, a sincere opinion, sincere counsel for the sake of Allah, did it already count in your favor? Yes, you got credit for it already. Whether the people take it or not, you already earned your credit. So the fact that it's taken or not taken is no longer meaningful to you. Because you already got what you wanted. You understand? But if your intention wasn't for the sake of Allah, guess what? You're going to get offended. You're going to say, hey, no, I gave my opinion, so it would be the supreme opinion. And that didn't come out, so I'm offended. Yeah, this is an easy way to check. Nobody can check that for you. If you felt bad, you can check yourself. You have to check yourself. These are exercises that are difficult to engage in. They're difficult to engage in, but we have to engage in them. So the first real problem is hidden ego. The outward is religious, and the inward is basically egotistical. This urge to show supremacy over others. The second problem, that's again, outward is religious. The outward is good. The outward is knowledgeable. The outward has good speech. The outward has good clothing. Right? Everything looks like, this guy, man, such a good brother. Right? The outward is great. You know what happens on the inside? The first thing was the heart became egotistical. The second problem is the heart becomes hard. You're no longer moved by Allah's words. You're no longer moved when you hear Qur'an. It's been a long time since you cried in salah. It's been a long time since your heart felt something. You hear it all the time, and the thing that crosses your mind is, I already know this. That's what crosses your mind. I don't need to do that. I already heard this stuff. I already know what he's going to say. The only thing that's going on in your mind when salah is going on is that qalqala could have been a little better. That mud was not long enough. Right? That ghunnah, I don't know about that one. That's all that's going on in your salah. You know what that is an indication of? It's good tajweed, but a tough heart. Right? You've got good tajweed, but your heart has become, the words of Allah are not enough to shake you. They don't move you like that. You just pass by them. And then the knowledge keeps increasing, and in your public life, you look very devoted to the religion, but when you're in your private, when nobody else sees you, this really evil person comes out. This person who has a certain behavior, who does certain things, that you would never imagine this person would be doing those things. When you look at their appearance, when you look at their public face, you would never think this person is that way in their private life, but in their private life they almost turn into someone else. When they're by themselves, they turn into someone else. Someone you wouldn't even recognize. So there's this monster inside, who's got serious issues, but on the outside it's a great person. Nobody can fix that for you because nobody even knows that exists. It's only all inside you. So the first problem is ego, the second problem is a heart that becomes hard. These are both spiritual problems, by the way. Problems of the heart, aren't they? Right? And the only one who can gauge this is who? Yourself. And now, there are some, inshallah, towards the end, inshallah ta'ala, some tips on how to fix this stuff, right? That'll be towards the end. But I want to just wrap this second point up really quick, inshallah ta'ala, of the heart becoming hard. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, the ayah I recited in the beginning, Surah Al-Hadid. Allah is talking to the people of the book. And then He talks to us. He says, أَلَمْ يَأْنِ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Isn't it time for people who claim to believe yet, أَن تَخْشَعَ قُلُوبُهُمْ لِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, that their hearts should be filled with awe. Their hearts should be overpowered. They should become numb. You know when your muscles become loose and weak? That's khushu' actually. When your muscles feel weakness in them. You feel like an overwhelming sense, an overpowering feeling. Right? Allah says their hearts should feel overpowered and weakened. Right? By the fear of Allah, by the remembrance of Allah. Isn't it time yet for believers that their hearts should feel like that because of remembering Allah? وَمَا نَزَلَ مِنَ الْحَقِّ. And isn't it time that their hearts should feel like that because of what came down from the truth? What is that? What came down from the truth? Qur'an.